Welcome to your weekly forecast. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. This week, we will be going over the energy for August 28th to September 3rd, 2023. If you align with my energy and you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Before I get into the weekly forecast, I always like to go over some of the energy that we are currently in or still moving through. Now, as we come into September, we have 6 planets retrograde, and I really want to talk about this because I see with my clients, with social media, with my family members, with my friends, we are all moving through something right now. And, the most important message that I want you to get out of this forecast is to not be too hard on yourself. Sometimes we move through specific energies that just require us to be still, that require us not to have a strong attachment to a specific outcome or a specific way of doing something. So let's just go over this energy. So we now have Mercury retrograde in Virgo. Mercury rules Virgo. We are also now in Virgo season. And what does Mercury rule? Mercury rules our mind, our mindset, our communication, how we are connecting to others, our reading, our speaking, our writing, amongst a lot of other things like documents, like paperwork. And so if you are feeling like you cannot focus at this time, well, Mercury is retrograde. This energy will pass. There's nothing wrong with you. It is just an energy we are moving through. I am seeing so much, people with this negative self-talk and thinking there is something wrong with them. There is not. It is an energy we are all moving through in our own way. And so if you are struggling with communication like I am, if you are struggling with focusing, if you are struggling with really setting your mind and following through with a specific thing, whatever that thing is, Mercury is retrograde. So this can be why. Now we are in Virgo season. This is a time where we want to set new routines. We want to implement, even if, this is when the kids go back to school. I homeschool my children, but even I implement new routines in some way. This is usually the time of year too where I will move my furniture around within my home, reorganize my office, which is a great time to do so in Virgo season. But this Virgo season is going to feel a little bit different because of that Mercury retrograde. So don't be too hard on yourself if it's taking a little bit longer to get these things moving. Now we also have Venus retrograde. And what does Venus rule? Venus rules our relationships. Venus rules our self-love, our self-worth. Venus also rules our money and finances. We are all moving through a lot of issues with our money and finances right now. We are also moving through a lot of issues with relationships, which I see constantly with clients and on social media. So be easy on yourself. This is an energy. And also remember too that whatever is showing up for you, whatever is being brought to your awareness, there's a specific reason why. It's to show you something, possibly something that's not in alignment with you that needs to be released, possibly someone that is not in alignment with you. And remember that if you are ascending, if your consciousness is raising, and those around you are not raising their consciousness with you, they are not leveling up, in a sense, they will fall away. And it is to make room for new people that are on your level, that have the same level of consciousness and awareness, and that are on the same frequency and vibration as you. And if we hold on to those people or those experiences or situations or jobs or whatever the case is, we are blocking ourselves from leveling up. And so remember that whatever is showing up for you, it can be showing you something you need to let go of, or someone. This doesn't necessarily have to be a love relationship. It can be a friendship. It can be a boss. It can be anything and anyone. It's showing up for all of us differently. But I want you to remember that whatever is coming to your awareness is for a reason. And this may be showing up to show you something. So just remember that. And also, if you're moving through relationship stuff or money or finances, it's the energy we are all moving through. So there's nothing wrong with you. And that is the message I'm really trying to drive home in this in this weekly forecast is that there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm doing this because I'm seeing constantly with my clients and on social media, people are being so hard on themselves. And I think it may have to do with Virgo season, but it also has to do with all the planetary retrogrades. It has to do with everything going on in our world right now. And people feeling stuck. It's almost like a stagnant energy going nowhere fast, and it's something we will be moving through. And so if we can move through this energy with the awareness, we can definitely move through the energy with more ease. Now, we will have Venus station direct September 3rd, but keep in mind that it does take a planet a couple of weeks to gain its momentum. And so it will feel like we have more than 6 planets retrograde. Now we have Jupiter stationing retrograde September 4th, right after Venus stations direct. And so it feels like 7 planets, right? Because Venus is not moving, Jupiter is not moving. So we basically have Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all at a standstill. Even though they are not all necessarily retrograde, they're at a standstill, they're not moving. And so, this can maybe help you understand why there's this stuck energy, especially with, all of these themes and topics, and Jupiter being in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, which rules our money and finances. It's adding and amplifying all of that as well. And so Jupiter, which stations retrograde September 4th, which I will probably be making a video about, this is going to really bring us back to that Mercury retrograde that we had back in April of 2023. Jupiter is retrograding over those exact same degree points, 15 to 5 degrees of Taurus. So if we think back to April, some information that came out, whether this is individually or collectively, something you were moving through, something we were all moving through, we will be revisiting those themes and topics. Jupiter will be reworking that energy because Mercury ruling information, communication, our mind and mindset, whatever we were really thinking about, whatever ideas we were receiving, downloads, intuitive downloads, or whatever maybe we were creating back then, or whatever information we were receiving on the news, on the media, can really show up in many forms. We will be revisiting that. Now, we have Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and then we also have Uranus stationing retrograde as we come into this week. And speaking of that, let's get into Monday, because that is a really interesting energy, because we have the moon in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. And then we have Uranus stationing. So we are really going to feel that Uranian energy. We will feel it anyways, because when a planet stations, whether it is retrograde or direct, that planet's energy becomes extremely powerful. But we will also have the moon in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. And so we really want to be taking care. We want to be taking care of our energy for the entire rest of 2023, really. While we are in this sticky energy, we really want to be grounding, because this is where we can be feeling anxiety. We can be having severe panic attacks at this time for people that do struggle with this. One more thing I forgot to mention was that coming into the week, we have Mars in Libra, and Mars is at its fall in Libra. So Mars does not exactly operate to full capacity in Libra. So the one planet we really have that's in its full forward motion is in a sign that it can't really express itself the greatest in. Now, Mars in Libra can have people taking action with situations that they feel are unjust, are not balanced, where there is something needed or required to balance out, if that makes sense. So an energy we really want to be mindful of is the only planet that we really have, moving forward, that we can draw energy from, is in a sign. And also in a sign that rules relationships and people. And so this is going to add to more of this relationship stuff. And that's another thing that I keep seeing is a lot of people moving through relationship stuff now, which I did talk about with the nodes entering Aries and Libra. The South Node in Libra is becoming aware of those people that are not in alignment. And remember what I said at the beginning of this video, that if something is coming up for you, this is a way of showing you, you are leveling up. And if you hold on to certain individuals, they will keep you down. Your consciousness, your awareness is rising. And people that are not rising and leveling up their consciousness, in a sense, they are and their frequency and their vibration, they do fall out of our lives. And it's how it is. And if we hold on to those people, we really do hold ourselves back. And so just keep that. Just be aware of that. Be mindful of that. Now, on Tuesday, so on Monday, we have the moon in Aries, and then we have Uranus stationing, which can feel intense. Okay, so we want to be watching for anxiety. We want to be watching for, Uranus rules the electrical systems within our body, our nervous system. So we really want to be grounding, because grounding can really help balance out the nervous system, getting your feet on the earth. If you can do this for at least 20 minutes, that's all it takes, 20 minutes. This can really help you move through the energy on Monday and even the next few weeks, the sticky energy we will be in, even too, because of that Mercury retrograde is forming a trine to Uranus, and that really adds to the anxiousness that we are all feeling, that panicky energy, the not being able to really slow our mind down and focus. So ground, it really does help. And also eating rooted foods. So eating rooted vegetables, eating food that is grown in the earth, that can also help. Eating higher vibrational foods. Now in the evening on Tuesday, we have the moon in Aquarius squaring Uranus. And so that is going to add. So Monday and Tuesday, we want to continue grounding. We can be feeling very emotionally up and down. Emotions can be heightened. Emotions can be all over the place. We can have, what I always say, whenever the moon connects to Uranus, this is where, that anxiety amps up. There can be lots of panic attacks. There can be even to the moon rules our emotions, our feelings, our intuition. So yes, we can get, powerful intuitive downloads at this time if we become aware of it and use the energy consciously. But it's where our mind can be racing, especially too because of that Mercury connecting to Uranus. And we just want to be watching how we are processing our emotions at this time, because emotions can definitely be heightened. So on Wednesday, excuse me, the 30th, the moon enters Pisces, forms a conjunction eventually to Saturn, and then we have that full moon in Pisces, which I did post a video about the full moon in Pisces, so you can check that out, and I go into all 12 rising signs. But when the moon forms a conjunction to Saturn, which this full moon is conjunct Saturn, this can feel like emotional restriction. You're not able to express yourself. There's something going on here where you are feeling restricted. There can be boundary issues coming up at this time. You may be met with resistance in some way in a situation or experience. So you want to be mindful with that. And this is where you may just be feeling like you cannot express yourself emotionally, or you're having a hard time processing your emotions. So something to be mindful of. Now on Thursday, August 31st, we have the moon form an opposition to Mercury retrograde. So the moon will be in Pisces. And the moon forming an opposition to Mercury retrograde, especially while Mercury is in Virgo, this is an energy. We really want to be kind to ourselves. We don't want to be too hard on ourselves. We want to be watching our self-talk, our thoughts, our words. When you feel that negative self-talk coming in, like, oh, I'm so stupid. Why did I do that? Oh my God, I should have known better. Stop it and redirect that energy. Say your affirmations. Take a deep breath, count to 3, say, I am happy, whole, and complete. I am so grateful for this experience right now because it has taught me, to never do this again. Or, you know what I mean? Like, be grateful for the experience. You want to flip your energy. You want to switch your vibrational frequency. And when we move through the days with this type of mindfulness, this is where we start to create changes in our life. Physical changes, spiritual changes, changes within our own being. And so, especially this week, we want to be moving through the week with this mindfulness. So on Thursday, when that moon opposes Mercury retrograde, don't be too hard on yourself if you're having a hard time with your emotions, if you're needing to balance out your emotions and your mind, and where your mind is wanting to do one thing and telling you to do one thing. And it's like, you need to focus on this, but you're feeling different. There's going to be balance required with how your mental body and your emotional body. So something to just be mindful of. And the fact it's in Virgo, we want to be watching for that being too analytical, being too critical, because a Virgo can become a very stressful energy. So we want to watch for stress. On Thursday, Virgo can be, very anxious in a sense of needing things to be done in a particular way or a particular fashion. And when it doesn't happen that way, you do become very down on yourself and you become very critical of others. Sometimes there's not, negative intentions. It's just that you think it should be done in this way and you attach yourself to that way or that outcome. So we want to watch for that on Thursday. Now on Friday, September 1st, early morning, we will have the moon form a conjunction to Neptune. Now, I guess depending on your time zone, you may not really feel this. However, it is just before we are waking up. And so waking up, we can be, this would actually be a great time to, they say we are in the best brain state just before we fall asleep and just before we wake up. And so when you want to say your affirmations to make changes in your life, doing it as soon as you wake up is one of the best times of the day. The moon conjunct Neptune would add to that energy. So on Friday, if you want to take advantage of the moon conjunct Neptune in Pisces, say your affirmations as soon as you wake up. That would be a great time to do so. Then we have the moon enter Aries and oppose Mars. So this is where, and at the same time, we will have Mars forming an in conjunction to Saturn. So this is an important day to really be mindful of anger, aggression, conflict, your own emotions. Emotions can be very heightened at this time. Mars rules anger, aggression, and conflict. However, Mars being in Libra, this can be a very passive aggressive energy. The moon being in Mars's home sign, Mars rules Aries, so the moon being in Aries, and then opposing Mars, there's a lot of irritability. There is a lot of aggression. However, if we tap into this energy constructively, there can be a lot of motivation, a lot of drive, a lot of willpower, a lot of initiating what it is you want to move forward with. And so where there is always difficult energy, there's always avenues to use the energy constructively. And this is, I think, so important, especially too with this day, with this Mars and the moon, where, yes, anger can be heightened, aggression. We can be, there can be a lot of road rage. We can be in a store and there can just be a lot of irritability, people looking at you the wrong way, or, people saying something under their breath and you can just feel the negative energy. Yes, this can be one of those days. But if we can protect ourselves energetically, meaning that, everyone else's energy doesn't affect me. I am in my safe space. I am in my energetic bubble. Anything directed at me is turned into motivation, willpower, and drive, or you can turn it into whatever emotion you want to feel. We can then, not manipulate, but we can, transmute the energy to suit us, to give us what we need, what we want. So we want to use this energy on Friday for motivation, for willpower, for drive. Now, because Mars for taking action. If you're feeling sluggish with this retrograde energy, this is going to be a great energy to really draw in. Now, with that Mars in conjunction to Saturn, this can bring in difficulty with our commitments, with our responsibilities, where there's a wanting to take action. There's something not in balance with taking action or what the direction you want to move in your commitments, your responsibilities, and possibly even your boundaries. Because Mars is in Libra, this can have to do with relationships. This can be a day where, possibly boundaries are crossed. And so you do really want to watch for that. And I do apologize for the dog barking in the back. Okay, I just shut the window. Sorry, it's my neighbor's dog. Okay, and then coming into the weekend, we will start to feel that Mercury combust because the sun is moving closer to Mercury, which will come exact, I believe, the next week. So the next weekly forecast. And this can add to that lack of clarity, lack of direction, brain fog, having a hard time focusing, having a hard time, getting your ducks in a row, having a hard time, scheduling or organizing. And that's what I mean. During this Virgo season, it's like, this is where we all naturally want to set new routines and do this and do that. And this one's going to feel different. It's going to feel different because we are in the sign that is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in that sign. Mercury is retrograde. So again, when we are conscious of this energy, when we are aware of this energy, we can move through the energy consciously and effectively. And it definitely helps to be aware. Now, the moon is going to be in Aries on Sunday morning. The moon in Aries is going to square Pluto at 29 degrees of Aries. And this happens Sunday, like really early Sunday. That 29th degree point is a powerful degree point because that is where we had that solar eclipse earlier this year, the 29 degrees of Aries. So with the moon squaring Pluto around that, now Pluto, it's not an exact square, but it's still this area of power, control, intensity, emotionally intense. It's going to add to the energy that we're already moving through and having to transmute with anger, aggression, and conflict. So we want to be mindful of that. Now, my final thoughts for this week is, like I said at the beginning of this forecast, be kind to yourself. We are in some difficult energy with, most planets retrograde. We will feel this especially the month of September. And, be patient. Sometimes Virgo season, we tend not to be as patient because Virgo sometimes can lack patience. Even though Virgo is an earth sign, it sometimes is not as patient. So we do want to just be patient with ourselves, be patient with others, take care of our energy. It is so important to ground at this time and take care of our energy. Eat healthy, eat rooted vegetables, drink a lot of water. It is so important at this time to take care of our energy with this challenging, these challenging times. It is also important to be aware and mindful of the energy that you are vibrating on and that you are putting out. And always remember that what you are putting out comes back to the words, your thoughts, your actions. Do something kind to someone every day. Do something kind and see how that raises your frequency and vibration just by, telling somebody that they look beautiful, or telling somebody that you like their nails, or you like their hat, or you like their shoes. When we do these things out of kindness, it raises our vibration. It really does. And do it, try it and see. Journal can really help too. Really paying attention to what is coming up for you at this time. Because of all planets retrograde, this is a time for reflecting, for really going within. And this can be a time where we are receiving a lot of intuitive downloads. We are feeling a lot. We want to be documenting this. We want to be journaling because this can really help us in the future. This can help guide us into new territory that we may not even understand at this time. But once we get there and we reflect back on our journal and see what has come to us, we realize, oh my gosh, yes, this I can do this now. So we want to be doing that. We want to be taking care of our energy. We want to be really doing what we can to raise our vibration. And yes, so I really hope that this helps you move through the energy for the week. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you in the next one.